in the audience. We think this is the destination of all of us, to be a husband or be a wife. So everybody can benefit, those who've been married for a long time, those who are thinking about marriage, etc., etc. Now here's some additional references for longevity of a marriage. Now, I want to say this to American Common. We didn't go into this expecting to make 50 years. That wasn't, the idea. The idea, I tell you what it is. We focus more on the fact of being married as opposed to a focus on the longevity. You understand what I'm saying? We didn't focus on the problems and challenges we had with each other. I got the word. We focused on the institution of marriage. We focused on it, and I was very surprised, again, doing some research. They are saying now that over 50% of those get married get divorced. So, these are the times. And so we know Devil is really feeling very good about that. And a lot of times I like to promote on the media when like right now, no offense, I don't know how y'all feel about it. Like right now, Jennifer Gardner, they seem like pretty good people to me. I don't know them pretty. And Ben Affleck, they always talk about the divorce as opposed, and of course they have children as well. So we have to, because a lot of people, they're looking at the stars. You know what they call them, stars. Can't reach them with their guidance in the dark, guidance in our society, call them stars. So here's some additional references. Prophet Muhammad, prayers and peace for Allah be upon him, said that marriage lies at the feet of, what I got it? Oh, paradise. Forgive me, I got marriage. Paradise, that's what I have here. Lies at the feet of the mother. Whenever two people come together in marriage, we expect that there will be children. Society begins growing in the womb of the mother, and as little children, the new future clings to the apron strings or around the legs of the mother. But the future heaven of the society depends upon how the mother raises the little children that are at her feet. Heaven is in the hands of the men and the women who form the union of marriage and begin increasing the population of mankind with children. Now, sometimes this can be a sticky point, but it's in the Quran. I guess because most of us we kind of live beyond our means, as opposed to living less than our means. The man is the maintainer, and I have in parentheses financial management. That can be a big issue of the home, according to the Quran. He is to provide the material needs for his household. That responsibility is on him. If his wife is able to share a part of that burden with him, that is to be considered as a gift from her. She is not obligated to give to him because he is the maintainer. Number 3, when Muslims marry, there's a dowry given according to the husband's means. So a ring is acceptable as a dowry. Now over there, I didn't know we kept that. I have, what is that, Mary?
That's the receipt for where you bought my ring.
The receipt. So now it's 2 parts to the ring, right? You give the first, but did I do that? Give the first half first when I asked you, and then then the other half. And look, I spent some money in that. Okay, ready for this? But not no thousands then. $1,950.
I still have it.
Allah Akbar. So now we weren't expecting to do all this, but we had. So we can say, we thanks to Allah. So we're just here sharing this with you. All right? That's some of our things that we have kept, and we pulled it all out, knowing that we were coming here to make this presentation. All right, here's another one. Do treat your women well, and this is in the prophet's so now if the prophet mentioned this suggests that there's going to be some issues later on for a marriage. If he mentions in his final address, which he knew it was, it says, do treat your women well and be kind to them, for they are your partners and committed helpers. And I remember doing, a talk. I said, maybe we shouldn't call them wife. Maybe I should call her my partner. It would put a different spin on how I'm seeing marriage. Or say my committed helper, my helpmate. Instead of saying wife, it'll put a different spin on it. Therefore, I have here, your wife is your partner as well as helpmate. And this was given in the prophet's last address. 2 more points, and then we'll go to the longevity of 49 years. Number 5, we have wives have certain rights over their husbands, and husbands have certain rights over their wives. If each of us would accept this burden and safeguard the society by doing what we know is the proper and best, we will be making our contribution to keeping the world in order. Now I feel a little uncomfortable with that, using the word burden, because actually the Quran again tells us that he's never placed a burden on us that we can't bear. So here's the challenge. The challenge is you have to accept the responsibility. Accept is what you got to do in this world that you have to do. And it will not be a burden. And who's ever heard this? They say Confucius said this. If you enjoy the work you're doing, you never worked a day in your life. They say Confucius said that. Right, so that's why now they're telling us, a lot of us, that the job you have, make sure you have some passion for that job. And you have some passion for that job, you enjoy the job, people wonder how you're able to do what you do. And then we have here, the last two, no, this is the last one I have. When one is married, of course I know you've heard this many times, he secures half of his religion. All right, so let him fear Allah in the other half. Now we have keys to longevity in a 49-year marriage. And this is something I saw and I copied it out. Copied it, because I thought it kind of fit us when I saw this. One of the best, but we don't live like this now. All right? I'm sure when people go to school, you go to school maybe 5 miles away and somebody else goes to school, you know. It's not like it used to be where we all went to school together. So one of the best chances for a good marriage is when you marry people that you know the most about. You should not only know that person, but also that person's family. And that's why one of the pictures we have over there is Miriam going down the aisle with her father. All right, her father, you would say give it away, but I knew him very well. Yeah, I almost told you, I tell you, I say that one. Miriam, she said, so this is the day of the marriage. We got married, and then we had what you call it? We had another reception at their house. And so while you were having a good time at the reception, everything, her daddy, well, I knew very well already. I knew very well. He beckons to me, let's go outside. So we go outside. I say, yes, Mr. Hollis. And he pulls out a 45 and says, if you ever, you know, disrespect or so and so and so, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You see that? So we straight with that? Yes, sir.
And he never.
Lord, she said I never had it. Alhamdulillah. All right. So he says, you should know, okay, wait a minute. You should not only know that person, but also that person's family. How that person lives with his family, with his or her relatives, and how they work. You should know how they get along with their co-workers. All of this tells you a lot about that person and lets you know whether you can be happy with that person or not. Whether it will work out or not. If you've lived around that person, you know that person better. That's why in Islamic tradition, young people usually trust their parents or older relatives' judgment more than they trust their own. The older relatives have been watching them and watching other youngsters of the opposite sex, and they have seen who has the personality, who has the makeup, who has the interest, and who seems to go well with this person. Yes. So what I'm saying is that since we met when we were 8 years old, so what I'm saying is that when we did finally get married, she knew what I was like when I was angry, when I was super angry, had no business, do not become angry, you know that I did, or she knew when I was happy, and likewise. So it wasn't like you were marrying someone that you didn't know. And she told me one time, we used to live in a house that was kind of on a hill, and she had some company on the porch, as I recall. And when I turned Miriam said, when I turned, she told him, y'all gotta leave. Because he is not feeling good. I ain't even got to the house yet. She just saw my face. I don't know. And when I got there, so it wasn't anything inappropriate, but she was just saying, this is not a good time for y'all to be visiting me on the house. All right. So over here we have some of the display of artifacts from our 49 years of marriage. Again, the large one shows, okay, thank you. The large one shows, I guess, a collage of all of us and our children. And then I got a calendar there. I got that date highlighted, 1968. And we have some photographs. And then we have a vase. Somebody in Chicago made that for us, right? The vase. and she put on it. I think that they get married about the same time we did. But it was an older couple there. So I think that's it. All right, Mary, your turn. Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
One of the keys to longevity is, I know a lot of people ask, how did you do it? My example was my parents and Yusuf's parents. I just watched what my parents did and I watched what his parents did. But like Yusuf said, when we were 8 and 9, anything that had to be done, they always put us together to do it. We were in the church. His father was a preacher, and we were trying to build a church. So we were at the church morning, noon, and night, 7 days a week. So that we were always together. And as we got older, our parents said, you know, they need to get married. You know, that's going to be my daughter-in-law, and that's going to be my son-in-law. And that's how it happened that we married. But one of the important things, and Yusuf brought it up in the marriage thing, and I'm hearing it, and then I said, oh, because I was going to say something about that. When we got married, I didn't know what love was. I didn't know if I loved Yusuf. I know I liked him, but you know, we were always together and all that. I didn't know what love was. But as we went along with our marriage, I found out that love is when you don't have one piece of bread and you got to share it. You don't have any milk, you got to share it. You need some new shoes, and you got to say, well, I got to wait until payday comes so that we can see if that's what we're going to get. So that love became with the commitment that our marriage endured. Another thing, the marriage, like you said, is coming together of two families. My family used to eat together every day at a certain time. Everybody came to the table. My father blessed the food. My mother helped my father's plate. And we ate as a family. Yusuf's family didn't do that. They, whenever they wanted, if anybody cooked, everybody, but most of the time he ate in my house. And my mother said, you know, I mean, it was a joke then, but can he go home and eat at his own house? Anyway, so I'm saying all that to say that it's just the coming together of two families. So what worked in my house was for my family when I was single at home with them. And what worked with you was when you were home with your family. But now as a man and wife trying to make a family of our own, we have to decide what's best for us, okay? And it's based on what our needs are. We did a lot of soul searching those first few years. When you're married, you got to tell your husband or your mate, man, your breath stinks. And not in a derogatory state. You're telling them because you care for them. So if they go out, if you used to go out and start talking to the brother, and the brother said, wow, did you, ooh. You know, I've already told you this. So you're prepared to go out and be with them. Or he might say, Miriam, you know, you need to go to the hairdresser. So, I mean, that should, I mean, it hurts for somebody to tell you that. Or if I came to you and the sister said, Dad, did y'all see how she looked? And my husband hasn't already told me. So we have to be, each other's garment. Mm-hmm. So we have to want for our husband or wife what we want for ourselves. And that's the way it is. There are situations where, guess what? I've never paid a house note in my entire 49 years. I've never paid a water bill. I've never paid a gas bill. I worked. If I decide with my work money that I want to go and buy me a new car, I go and buy it and say, hey, Yusuf, look what I got. And I come home. That was my money. But I go to the grocery store and I buy all the groceries for the whole month. I don't have to say, Yusuf, do you want me to go buy the groceries? You want me to? I do things because I want to. I don't wait for Yusuf to do things. He does things because he wants to and not be, or we need to. So Marriage is a give and take, but it's not, like I said, there are some good times and there are some bad times, because you're gonna laugh together a lot, you're gonna cry together a lot. You're gonna have to do a sit down and soul search. Because what they call the first 5 years, we call them the get acquainted, the adjustment period. The adjustment period. Some people don't make it that long. But then again, we had a good family that was there supporting us. So this marriage, all of us who are thinking about it, or who've already been in it, and if it's working for you, continue to do that. I don't think that, with the guidelines from the Holy Quran, our parents, the people around us who are giving those positive vibes in marriage, I think we should follow that. We don't have to copy that, but take what's good from anything and use it. That you don't need, leave it alone. Keep it going. So, that's it.
All right. Alhamdulillah. Now, a couple more points I'm going to mention. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, but listen, I understand that as I'm older. All the credit, I don't want to cry, all the credit goes to God. I can't take any credit. I really can't. Any decisions, we tried, check with Allah, think, is this the best? If this is the best, and we try to do it accordingly. Now, a couple of things I want to mention. Let's talk about, all right, so we at church, I guess they still do it. 11 o'clock service is one of the main services, right? But at the church, Daddy, we would have 11 o'clock service, and we'd have a 3 p.m. service, usually. Very soon we didn't have 3. So what we finally came up with is, I go to church, all right, and then after church service, 1 o'clock, then I could go over Miriam's house, because they're going to have dinner, and then after I finish dinner with them, because one time I missed church. I'll never forget, I missed the 3 o'clock service. And Daddy came to me, and, where I was over Miriam's house, he said, look, whenever the doors of that church are open, you are to be there. So he accepted what I said. Okay, so I'm going to go over Miriam. After 11 o'clock service, I go over Miriam's house and we eat and everything. Then I could go back to the church at 3 o'clock. Everything worked out. Hey, it was okay. And I also want to mention, I do have, this was somebody in Chicago decided to make a book called The Heroes and Sheroes series. And this is what she did on, what do you call it? On me. And of course, this is a picture of Merman. Is this where you get ready to go to Okinawa?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, so this is a picture of us. We rode the bus. I didn't have no car. We rode the bus to get a picture. So, oh, I know what that is. Where's that other picture? Yeah,